Hello everyone, a warm welcome and a heartfelt namaste to one and all of you. Today we talk on Mula Nakshatra and we also talk about Jupiter's advent into Mula Nakshatra. To begin with, Mula Nakshatra is said to be the beginning or rather the center of the universe, at least for us, our galaxy Milky Way. The center of our galaxy Milky Way lies in the Mula Nakshatra. So, when we talk about Mul means the basic or the root. So the root of the universe, the epicenter of it, rather our galaxy, the Milky Way, lies right there in Mula Nakshatra. So this is the beginning. It is from where things originate, at least for our galaxy. Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius sign in which this nakshatra is instated. So this makes the movement of Jupiter into the Mula Nakshatra a very special one because it is like the homecoming of the king who has been out on a journey. Also, Jupiter is the owner, ruler, as it is the owner and the ruler of the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius happens to be its Mula Trikona sign. And for that matter, the first 10 degrees of Sagittarius is its Mula Trikona sign, making it a very active zone for Jupiter to work on. So when Jupiter advents into this sign, it makes sure that it starts dispensing with its activities as soon as it advents into the sign. The Mula Trikona sign, for all of you out there, is the sign which, or up to a degree in a sign with which the planet concerned considers it as its state of office. So when it is in office, it makes a very strong impact, powerful impact, dispensing off with its duties with utmost professional or to the utmost of its capacity. So let us move into case of Jupiter into Mula Nakshatra and see what it brings, not just for Sagittarius, but the entire scheme of Lagnas. So Jupiter transits to Mula Nakshatra. Mula means basic or the root. The center of the galaxy lies in the asterium of the stars that make Mula Nakshatra. So this Mula Nakshatra becomes a fulcrum of the existence for the Milky Way. It is said that at the advent of a planet in Mula Nakshatra, a relief is felt in diseases because it is related to Ayurveda, which is based on the use of plants, the roots and leaves to cure diseases. As such, Mula Nakshatra, then Jupiter, who is also one of the teachers, advents there, we would come to know more and more about the kind of food, the natural things that we can consume so that we can relieve ourselves of a lot of problems. Ninth house is also related to doctors. The root has the ability to penetrate the soiled earth and move deep within its bowels. They have the ability to withstand and work their way through opposition and emerge victorious. Getting to the base of things is what the nakshatra is very good at. They are devoted to a cause. Mula is represented by a bunch of tied fruits and as such shows either getting together all the resources to a point of concentration to get work done, or or it can also refer to a point wherein our hands are so tight that we are unbound by limitations and the person concerned has to work within those limitations to fulfill the cause at hand. It would depend on the house that the Sagittarius sign is likely to fall for you. Jyeshtha represents the highest point of achievement possible for mankind, and as such there is an insurgence of ego when we have achieved a lot in life. For the divine grace to flow into a person and to be experienced, the walls of the ego have to be down and we have to be free of any artificial recognition. This happens in the nakshatra of Mula, where Nirati, which is the goddess of destruction, brings in a new chapter of synthesis of a better, more humble being with a deep sense of gratitude for the divine. This is the area where the sense of new development with the help of divine energy can be felt and experienced. A person on the lower rungs of evolutionary activity can feel that there is a strong need to control, because from Jeshta he's been controlling as a chief. So that idea to let go of things and not want to be in control of everything is something that he's not used to. So the idea to control things and to act in that manner would continue. Whereas when a person moves, when a planet moves into Mula, this is very much in contradiction to the theory and the theses and for whatever that Mula stands for. So, as much as a person keeps trying to control things, the more they would move out of the person's hand, and the person would become intense, nervous, paranoid, and sometimes this Mula can cause a very violent personality. So, when a planet after its transition from Jeshta, wherein you have achieved the pinnacle, moves into Mula, it is a time to let go of all your achievements of the past and move on to newer achievements free of the baggage of the past. Not carrying on that saying that I have done it, reached there, and so need acknowledgement for it. Though that part of the job has been done, acknowledged, and now it's time to move on back to the tables, back to the drawing board, and leave the ego behind. Let's move on to Jupiter. Jupiter, as I said earlier, is a planet that shows a lot of very strong placement, very strong effects when it is placed in the first 10 degrees of Sagittarius, because it is its Mula Trikona zone. Jupiter here acts as a judge, and it dispenses of administration, jurisdiction, as it is the fundamental work of Jupiter to be a Dev Guru, dispense with advice, dispense with knowledge, dispense with jurisprudence at its best and most basic fundamental level. Jupiter gives us 16 kinds of wealth. So the wealth that are associated with Jupiter are fame, knowledge, courage and strength, victory, children, valor, gold, precious metals, stones, valuables, grains, happiness, bliss or ananda, intellectual energy, intelligence, beauty, thinking, past, philosophy, and meditative states, morals and ethics, health, and a long life. So Jupiter has the ability to bestow a lot of things, but there is no such thing as free lunch in this universe, and so this is given in respect to certain. All these is bestowed for certain karmas that we undertake or we have the ability to work on. So we would need to consider, or we would need to observe how and when Jupiter would give its karmic results. But before that, I would also like to add that Jupiter would also start going retrograde in just 10 days from the sign of Mula, from the sign of Sagittarius in Mula itself. So, how does this retrograde affect Jupiter? We will see with respect to each of the Lagna again. For the Aries Lagna, as Jupiter returns to its own house in the ninth house, it heralds a number of changes in life. It brings in a deep-seated need in the native to move towards the study for higher knowledge and the quest to know it right from the basics. It also indicates a time when the native would be forced to review and revise his or her ethical and religious beliefs and work on turning them into spiritual effects in life. We would be able to see this retrograde effect here, and we would also be able to check out the retrograde effect when a person realizes that this, for the study, for a great spiritual study, the person would have to move into a zone of deep meditation also. So when Jupiter would be retrograding into the 8th house again, you would see a person going into a meditative stance also, a change in terms of letting go and accepting things, losses would also mean an end to a chapter while beginning of a new one, because the roots are not just the end, they're also a beginning of a new story. It also indicates a time when you come across a person who will have a major influence on your thought process and your perception, which could open up an entire new world of knowledge. Again, taking you within when Jupiter retrogrades to assimilate as to your ability or your perception of right and wrong, truth and false. It would also reflect on your generosity and ability to connect with the universal forces. It is a good period to start working on your marriage in a totally new way. Jupiter transits into Mula for Taurus Lagna and then retrograde back. As it is the 8th and the 11th Lord transiting the 8th house, it reflects a period of sudden change and intense study of the paranormal and occult forces. It represents a change in one's fortune and their ability to sustain a regular income. It is the period when a person is likely to bring about some fundamental restructuration in their organization to bring in more income and stability. It would also see to an influx of friends in life and a participation in new organization, as it is a period of breaking of old beliefs and relationships and blossoming into new ones. And as Jupiter would retrograde back into the sign of Scorpio for you, it would bring about old associations for you to work on. They would need certain amount of completing. They would need certain amount of time from you for the next few months to be before they can be broken off, before they can be let go of. Old partners would again restructure your life, remove into your life, but you would have met new ones. So letting go in this case is going to be easy. At one level, you might find difficult, but on the whole, generally, because you do see an end and you can understand there is a new beginning, this new beginning would be definitely better and brighter. For the Gemini Lagna, the 7th Lord and the 10th Lord moves into the 7th house in Mula Nakshatra. It represents a period of reshuffling your business and also starting a business or taking a new approach to associations and work. As Jupiter moves into the 6th house again on being retrograde, it would be a time when you would consider falling back, completing or rather finishing up old associations, finishing up with old employees, finishing up old cases, legal cases, thereby making sure that when Jupiter re-enters the sign of Sagittarius later this year, it would be a clean cut, it would be a good way to approach your business in the new ways. It is time when you find an area of work or an opportunity to start a new chapter of work and personal life. There may be instances where your married life calls for a search into the basics to find out if there are any problems and to get a better outlook to search for the same. Otherwise, when Jupiter retrogrades, you would be falling into the pattern of having fights and having a lot of dilemma about each other, not trusting each other. So it's a time that you once and for all sit down and find out the root cause and if there are any solutions. It is also the time when you should be able to garner appreciation for your hard work and make a clear standing. Starting out afresh brings with its own set of emotional turmoil, but it also can be therapeutic to let go of old energy, which is replaced by a rejuvenating and fresh breath, which promotes growth and success. So I would just suggest that when in the next 10 days, just use as much as possible of this new energy because Jupiter here is very vibrant. Pick it up, and when Jupiter starts retrograding, using this as a base, as a model, let go of things that you do not want in your organization, in your relationships. Work on that in the next 5 months, and you're sure to come across safe and sound and a healthier being, and then moving back into Sagittarius. Health again will definitely have an impact because when Jupiter moves into a healthy zone for you, you need to take care of, revise your health plans also. For the Cancer Lagna, the 6th and the 9th Lord transits to the 6th house in Mula Nakshatra. It is the one of the best times for you to take a good look of yourself for health wise. Yes, here when it is moving into the 6th house, it is important that you find out what is the root cause of your bad habits and how they have lingered within you and how you can just pull them out right from the root. You have the the blessings of Jupiter in this case to do that. And when Jupiter retrogrades back into the 5th house, implementation becomes really easy for you because in Jyeshtha Nakshatra, Jupiter gives you a strong willpower to put it. A retrograde Jupiter, which will act against the usual Jupiter, which is very, which in Jyeshtha, which can give a lot of addictions. So it will help you work against these addictions and be righteous in behavior. It gives you enough strength to work out any indiscretion and poor health issues. Once these health issues are addressed during this transit, it would make a long way in successful implementation and reap benefits for the same. It is also a time when you would be able to reach to the root cause of any social problem or court cases you are involved in and be able to deal with them in the same manner, which is an unbiased manner. You have the ability to look at it in a very, very unbiased manner, and you can find out the faults, you can find out the problems there. When Jupiter is retrograding, you can just select, pick, and remove these faults right from your system. Structuring and increasing your database and work will help you in the expansion of your business and job. For the Leo Lagna, the 5th Lord and the 8th Lord transits the 5th house. This is a golden period when changes in the system are very easily accessible and acceptable. It is the time when life would seem to begin from the fundamentals and your environment around you would be in a constant state of improvement. It is the time when life will bring you pleasant surprises which will have an everlasting effect on you. As it again moves back into the 4th house for you, you will find that the home that you had craved for, the place that you wanted, is now easily accessible to you. You can reinstate yourself in your old home. You can find a bigger and a better place and find a happier company there because Jupiter will now help you show your dominance in that zone also. Happiness can become multifold also, and you could be feeling happy within, maybe not be able to express it a lot, but feeling happy within when Jupiter retrogrades into your 4th house. Children will have lots of new changes coming their way and you may find yourself in a new situation or relationship with them, especially in the coming 10 days, and you can work on them and bring about this happiness in your life also. They're likely to go abroad for their educational venture or job and begin life in a very different manner altogether. For the Virgo Lagna, the 4th Lord and the 10th and the 7th Lord transits the 4th house. In the Mula Nakshatra, this heralds a beginning of the search for a new house and a need to feel happy. It is a time when life is likely to give you reasons for happiness and you are likely to find new treasures coming your way that will help you remain chirpy and balanced. However, one needs to be actively accepting of new changes that can be seen and understood. A point to note here is, as I said again, you have to become free of the burden of the old in case when Jupiter has moved into Mula Nakshatra. You cannot carry on that same expectations and the same feelings of the Jyeshtha Nakshatra into the Mula Nakshatra because it is not acceptable there. Indra as a deity of Jyeshtha gave you a lot in terms of power, prestige, but Mula being basic right down to the root level, you have to find your happiness in small things, and these happiness will move on ahead. When Jupiter moves into Capricorn, will give you in Uttarashara Nakshatra. Yes, it's deep debilitation point, but you will learn that giving, following things to the best of your ability gives you a sense of wisdom, which is neither being too happy nor being too sad. It is important to accept it that Jupiter is going retrograde soon, and it will reflect on your need to redo and rework on your happiness and home and set a few things right before you finally hit the right spot. For the Libra Lagna, the third lord and the sixth lord transits the third house. It is the house of initiatives and friends. This transit suggests that you are likely to come across new people with whom you are going to start a new endeavor, and you are going to find success. However, you may find the need to reconsider your endeavor once Jupiter starts to retrograde, and finally, you will be able to implement decision around October. It is also the time when your siblings are likely to play a part in an important role in your life. They're likely to give you some strong and a very good advice, and might help you find decisions and take up decisions and directions in life. And so please pay heed to what they have to say. They may also be able to guide you about your money. So this is a time when you should pay attention to what your siblings have to say. As we move on to the Scorpio Lagna, the second lord and the fifth lord moves into its own house, the second house. This is an active period for gaining wealth. Yes, till the ninth, it's a very strong period. As it moves into the house of jurisprudence, it brings forth all the moral and ethical issues into the forefront. So anything that you have been that is morally or ethically due to you, Jupiter as the luck factor of the fifth house will make sure that it is brought back home, kept safe for you. It is likely that you may make some fundamental changes in your old investment or make some new investments which may need restructurization at a later date when Jupiter goes retrograde. It is a time when life is centered around family and setting things up in new ways. New members may be inducted in the family. When Jupiter moves over your Lagna once again in as a retrograde lord, it will see to it that you are bestowed with a lot of luck. Your children might be returning home for some time if they're staying abroad. It is also the time when you would see certain amount of reconciliation with your partners and a period of truce with them. So hold on to this period if you have had some nasty periods in the past, because this period does bring a lot of good news for you. For the Capricorn Lagna, the 12th Lord transits into the 12th house. It opens an entire new world to be explored. It is the world of spiritual advancements and parallelly the world of foreign travel. This transit would be leading to an everlasting impact in life, as it is a time when the Lagna Lord conjoins the 12th Lord and Ketu, and they all together in the 12th house bring forth lot of revelations for you, because Ketu gets exalted or considers the 12th house is own zone, and it gets exalted in the sign of Sagittarius. Saturn is also said to give good results in all the houses, in the last 4 houses of the zodiac, and both the houses of Jupiter. So this is a good phase because the 12th lord returning into the 12th house is considered good. This will bring about a change in your personality. It will make you a much more lovable and open personality. It will make you an affable personality, and your social networking skills will start working smartly. It is you can also understand and recognize that this is a time when life would be treating you with a lot of generosity, and it would call on you to return this generous nature back. That is, it is a time when you need to be charitable, open in your own way to people. When Jupiter retrogrades, it would give you a scope to set things right on a few situations as regards your income and your family. And it also needs to see that you would be taking just the right decision as far as your friends circle are concerned. And when you've been able to do it in the next few months, then Jupiter would be working at ease all over again when it joins Saturn and Ketu again in Sagittarius. For the Aquarius Lagna, Jupiter moves into the 11th house. In the Mula Nakshatra, it affects the increase in your income from a new source and would be instrumental in bringing you a lot of recognition and accolades from new avenues. So be prepared to be, observed and be given a lot of bouquets right there from new sources, because the 11th lord is moving into its own house, and it is none other than Jupiter itself. But for that, you would have to take a few initiatives on your own. You would have to take few wise decisions on your own. Your spouse, it is also a time when your spouse would also gather a lot of clout and recognition, and spouse can also be actively set out to help you and be a partner in every sense of the word. A new circle of association seem to be appearing on the horizon, and it's good for you. However, you would need to consider and filter it, and Jupiter would help you do that when it goes retrograde within a few days. Once you have established your contacts and job profile properly, you are likely to have one of the most profiting periods of your life starting October. For the Pisces Lagna, the Lagna Lord and the 10th Lord transit the 10th house and bring about a lot of changes in your work. It is a time to pull up your socks and create new and dynamic channels of earning. You need to bring about fundamental changes in your professional life. It is a time to let go of the old without trepidation and make way for new shoots to rise up. This will set the tone for an entire new cycle of Jupiter, which will also affect your personal growth, as Jupiter is also your Lagna Lord. When Jupiter retrogrades into Scorpio, you will find a need to review your changes again and counsel someone elderly to make the foundation strong, as it is when Jupiter moves back again, finally into the nakshatra of Mula in somewhere in October. It will be time that you are likely to make great heights and create good waves in your career. Your father is also likely to have an excellent income coming his way. There could be a new addition in your home. So if you've got any questions, feel free to ask me at anuradha.s@anuradhasharda.com. There is always an element of free will that works for us, and Jupiter, being the gaseous planet, the expansive planet, and the Dev Guru, gives us the intelligence to put it into great use, the element of free will. The element of free will also works with retrograde planets, because when the retrograde planets get active, they give us the ability to choose to work on our past deeds, correct them as they should be, so that we can have dispensed off with that karma and moved ahead. With this point in mind, let us have a good weekend and think about it. Have a great day ahead, and may this Jupiter's advent bring for us new tidings, new beginnings, and dispensing off with our karmic debts to a great deed. Till we meet again, have a nice time and stay safe.